Hi, class. My name is Timothy Scott, and I'm coming to you for Unit 2 discussion boards. It's a video in a narrative research process. Describe the characteristics of the design. Make sure you address the following. Narrative research is a quantitative design focuses on understanding individual experiences through the story they tell, emphasizing chronological, lived, and context dependent accounts. Key characteristics include in-depth small samples or single subject studies where research act as interpreters, co-constructing meaning with participants through iterative, collaborative data collections. Focus on individual experiences. The design centers on the stored lives of individuals, aiming to understand the meaning they attribute to their own experiences. Chronological sequence plot. Narrative research emphasizes the unfolding of events over time, including a beginning, middle, and end of using a restoring process to reorder raw data into a coherent sequence. Context and setting. Stores are situated within specific detailed personal, social, cultures, which helps define the meaning of the experience. Data collection method. Data is collected through interviews, journals, fields, notes, letters, and conversation stories. Collaboration with participants. The researcher collaborates with the participants throughout the process, checking findings to ensure the story accurately reflects their experiences and voice. Restoring narrative analysis. Research often restores the participants' stories into a new organized framework that highlights key themes, plots, and meaning. Key elements in the process. Characters. Identify who is in the story and their role. Plot. The sequence of events. Settings. The content of the story. Theme. The overturning interpret meaning. Plot or view. The perspective from which the story is told. For my next question, it says, in a narrative research plot, what are the ethical considerations that a researcher must consider in using this research methodology? Narrative research requires intense ethical focus due to its focus on personal stories, necessitating deep, informed consent, ongoing participants, collaboration to avoid misrepresentation, and strict confidentiality. Key considerations include managing power dynamic, ensuring the restoring process accurately reflecting the participant's voice, and addressing the emotional risk of sharing personal experiences. Key ethical considerations is narrative research, informed consent, and rational ethics. Consent is not a one-time event. It must be negotiated throughout the study, especially as stories unfold. Participants must understand how their story will be interpreted and used. Represents national ethics, restoring When restoring a participant's narrative, the researcher must ensure the meaning and accuracy of the account are not distorted. Confidentiality and anatomy. Because narrative data is highly personal, protecting identities is difficult. Research must remove identity details while preventing the context of the story. Power dynamics and collaboration. Narrative research must share authority with the participants, treating them as co-constructors of knowledge rather than mere subjects. Emotional safety and harm reduction. Sharing personal, often traumatic stories can cause emotional distress. Researchers must be prepared to handle these situations. Reflexivity. Researchers must continually reflect on how their own bias and background influence the interpretation of the participant's story. These are my 2 secrets for this class. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Thank you.